Welcome to week 15 of the Bill and Lisa's Coaches Show. Last week, Coach, Indians fall short in the regional finals, losing to a very good Winton Woods team, 38-17. Best way to describe it, we walk into a team that really has been playing their best football. They're healthy, and it's no shame on our end. They were just a good team that night.
I think they were. I think that as we watched them in the season progress, that we saw in the first half of the year, they struggled a little bit, losing some games, and then all of a sudden, I think that things kind of took off. I think especially they were always playing great defense, but I think things took off a little bit offensively when they kind of narrowed down what they wanted to do. They had some personnel, and once they got that in, it's tough to stop. It's tough to keep in front of everything, and when you try to keep in front of everything, then there's a lot of things that get outside you, and it's kind of an oversimplification. But when the game started, it really came down to very much just that. There was stuff coming at you, and there was stuff going outside of you, and they kind of kept you off balance a little bit as to what was going where because of the flexibility of their motion man.
Yeah, the old cliche of both sides of the ball sometimes can be overstated, but not in this game. They were very good on both sides of the ball. We talk about their defense, and they really suffocated that line in that middle, and we were able to get some things out of it, and we got some steam rolling there in the first half. So, but again, offensively, you talk about that motion guy. There was seemed to be rhyme or reason what that motion guy was doing, and it was kind of hard. I'm sure from a film standpoint, you probably noticed that as well.
It was working because he was finding his way into anytime we changed the defense, then he would find a new entry point, and then when we changed the defense where he had too many in the box, then they could simply just bring it outside the box. But I think sometimes when we look at games and we say, okay, well that was one in the trenches, this was one here, and we've used that before. I think on Friday night, I think we were equally challenged on the outside of our offense and defense and on the inside of our offense and defense. I think they played well on the outside with both their blocking and their ability to take on blocks, as well as in the middle part of it too. And I thought we did some good things on offense. You get a little out of rhythm though, sometimes, and I know we did some good things on defense, but again, perfect example would be we come out of the locker room, everybody's stoked up, ready to go, and we get they drop a pass, and then we hit a jet sweep for a 0 gain, and we got them at 3rd and 10. Great situation. Get them to punt, get the offense back on the field rolling, and they hit a 12-yard pass that turns into a 25-yard pass. When we miss a tackle, and that's one of our cardinal rules. In terms of don't give up yak yardage. If you're going to give up a pass, get the guy on the ground. I think that just kind of snowballed in, and those are the things that kind of happen. Next thing you know, it's the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the game moved fast, and the pace moved fast. All that being said, and I don't want to take anything away from this football team, and I know as you don't, we though continued to battle, and we did try to find ways. And even in the second half, we put ourselves in positions where we still were competing, and we were making them compete.
Yeah, and I think in any situation like that, at some point, unless you win the state championship, it's going to come grinding to a halt for you. But like I told our players, I said I'm not going to. I can still give you guys compliments for what you did without demeaning the effort of what Winton Woods did. I think that what you did, was incredible throughout the year. Going through 2 regular seasons without losing 2 games. 2 games in 2 years. What a great opportunity for these guys to be part of this stuff, and how much concentration it took, to be involved in this. This was literally a 6-month season. Our first practice was Memorial Day on a Monday, and this past 2 days ago, actually yesterday was the first Monday we were not on the field, since Memorial Day. And that spans out to about 6 months, and that's a lot of concentration. That's a lot of effort in the weight room, a lot of conditioning, a lot of trying to keep everybody fresh, happy, so forth. And it was quite a ride.
You talk about 6 months, that's a long time, but these kids were committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk a lot throughout the year about this team and their chemistry and how they were always ready and just took what was in front of them. They didn't look ahead, they didn't look behind, they looked at what was ahead of them, or what was in front of them, I should say. Senior leadership, but also your juniors that picked up into it, and your sophomores, you could see them watching and learning from this group. Coach, you've been in this 30 years. You've had a lot of special teams, but I'm sure this team probably will be up there as one of the teams. And to compare them, a lot of people like to compare them to other teams. This team is just different. They had their own, their own trademark, and I'm sure from your standpoint, it'll be one that you remember for a long time.
Oh yeah, definitely. And a lot of the teams. There's very rarely I sit back and say, okay, well that team reminds me. I mean, there's a couple things maybe of here and there. There's sometimes I'll say, hey, we're in this situation back then, but the characters are always different. And everybody's unique. As to what they do, even from this year, last year, whatever the case may be. But I really thought that they took it as far as they were going to, as far as they got. And when it came down to it, we kind of understood a little bit what Edgewood felt like the week before, and you get to that point and you're just like, okay, everybody's got an expiration date, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And apparently our expiration date for the 2021 season was last Friday night.
Well, when you're in the locker room and having conversations, and really not a lot of conversations, but just moments of people thanking one another, and there was shaking hands and hugging and all those things. It was a genuineness with one another in that room that we talk about, that bond that is different than you have maybe just sitting in a chemistry class. And that athletic bond and that team bond, this team really was glued together, and you could sense that it was sad, but yet we were proud of what we accomplished.
I think that's why I think there was a little bit of both, and it being an away game, and we were out in the middle of, I just got finished talking to a bunch of the reporters and stuff, which that's always the worst thing when you lose. You're always glad to sit and talk to people when you win as much as possible, and then when you lose, that's the part I learned my first year as head coach. You gotta deal with that also. But I think one of the nice things was then when we come back in the locker room, I had several parents, and I very rarely do I get a chance to meet or talk to a lot of the parents, and had several parents come up and tell me thank you and wish us well and things along those lines. And we have spent a lot of time together. It was almost like a little mini community at some point, because of the fact that we go to school together, we have classes together, whether or not we're in the weight room together, we're on the field together, we're in meetings together. We spend maybe three and a half hours a day together, and do that consistently.
Yeah.
That's even on Saturdays, and as coaches, it's 7 days a week. So you're spending time with the coaches 7 days a week, and so I think for everybody to be able to know their role, fit in, and we didn't have anything in terms of egos, in terms of this, who needs to get credit for things along those lines. I think everybody realizes when you get to the 14th game of the season, there's enough credit for everybody to get something out there one way or the other.
Yeah, I ever get a sense from this group that they wanted a little bit more camera time, or they wanted a little bit more recognition, or a little bit more social media interviews. It was, everyone felt like, hey, we're sharing this amongst ourselves, and this is about.
I think we're kind of a group too that kind of stays to ourselves a little bit in terms of the social media. I don't think we're out, a huge amount of boasting here, doing this and doing this. I think everybody kind of sticks to what we do here. And we've got great support from the outside. I mean, even a non-starter, it's a great Great call, great time. I mean, once a week you get free food, you get a free T-shirt, you got a free sideline jacket, and you get to watch, an excellent football team play and learn a great deal about what it takes to be a winner and stuff. So even those guys, the JVs who had a great season in their own right, they didn't get to play for maybe 3 weeks, but it was still beneficial for them to get out and practice and do all those things.
Well, Coach, let's just be a little bit more specific. We're talking generalities, but let's be specific about what did this group accomplish. And you mentioned earlier, back-to-back MVL championships, back-to-back undefeated seasons, which has never happened before in school history, which is amazing. When you think of all the success that this team has had.
Yeah.
This year, this team was a part of the 700th win in career for the school, school history, in the 12th winningest program in the state of Ohio, which is pretty astonishing, pretty neat. And the team gets to the regional finals with a final record between the last 2 years. If you look at this year, they finished 13-1 the last 2 years, 20 wins and only 2 losses. That's a pretty good run.
It is. It's an incredible run, and we always go back though to the same roots, man, and the same roots were 3 years ago. Those three tough losses. And we don't have to specifically name those because we're past that now. But those 3 losses really built character, for this football team. They didn't tear it apart. Kids didn't say, "Well, I'm quitting." These guys don't know how to coach, or we said, "Hey, we're quitting on these guys. They're just not good players this year. Or let's bag the season." Whatever the case may be. We kept hanging in there, and even that last game, we took a tough loss. Which is one of the 3 that I said I wanted to talk about. And as a result, I think those guys continue to get stronger and stronger, and that was a product. And I think good times reap benefits, and I think also bad times sometimes reap benefits. And I think hopefully our younger guys are going to not get fat and happy, not come in and say, "Well, I'm entitled to this because I play Pickwick football," but rather say, "This is how these people got to that spot. I'm going to put the same amount of time in, I'm going to put the same amount of commitment in, and as a result, I'm going to get to the spot where they were also." That's what I think we need to make sure we learn.
Well, that's a good segue. We certainly thank our seniors, and we're going to miss them. They will have certainly made their mark here, and they will continue as they move out in this world. Segueing back into getting ready for next year, because it's not. I know your wheels have already been moving for what do we got to do to get better? What do we have to do to make this product a better product? And not that it can't be. You're always thinking about what's good, what can be improved. I know that off season is going to start kicking here in the weight room here shortly, and the process starts again.
It does, and it's incredible the amount of energy that comes back into it now, because it's a fresh group of people and everybody thinks, okay, this is my year. This is what I want. It's my chance. I want to do this. I've had 3 or 4 kids come up to me already. Monday already come back. Hey, Coach, what do you think I need to weigh? What can I do here? I want to try to get a little faster. What are some of the things we can do here? I'm thinking a little bit about what we need to do in terms of we replaced quite a few players. But we got a lot of people back, so we're looking at that. How we're going to feature some kids, how we're going to get into this role and things like that. And so you got all that to do. Plus you got the monster task of football inventory, which is in itself a process that I appreciate the assistant coaches helping with. So all that stuff. The wheels are already starting to turn and get back into it and go. So we're pretty pumped.
You talked about your coaches, and I think we'd be remiss. I know you've mentioned them throughout the year, but I think it'd be remiss if we didn't bring them up. Big part of, again, this team's success. Everybody's got a spoke in the wheel. They're doing their part. The coaches, you talk about 7 days a week. If you come in here on a Sunday, you're going to see a lot of cars of our coaches, and they're in there breaking film down and getting ready for the next one. The coaches are a big part of this. The assistant coaches are making this thing go.
Definitely they are. And the weekends come, and some of the coaches are staying watching film. Other coaches, buzz off to the JV game, help those guys try to get better, and then they come in on Saturdays, come back on Sundays. And the unique thing for us is, and I think the reason why we get a lot of work done is we never sit down as a group, as a whole. And Friday night after the game, we got back, and I asked all the assistants to come in for a second, and I guess our first coaches meeting of the year, actually, that we're all in the same spot.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, give everybody the, thanks and everything. And I think I thanked you too for helping us. That was the reason. But the big thing about our assistant coaches is everybody's got their own area that they deal with, and they go off. And the beauty of this stadium is every one of our coaches has their own little office space. And so they got their own place and they got cable TV they can check a game out to in the meantime, and that keeps them working maybe a little bit more if they know that they can, check a score here and there, and they do what they need to get done. For when Monday comes, they're ready to go. Also, we've been together for a pretty long time that I can, we have meetings, but the meetings are, I'll go talk to our offensive coordinator, Troy Ole, I'll go talk to our pass game guy, Rick Krejci, I'll go talk to, Smitty, or, Travis and Bargy will come in. They're kind of our back end of the defense guys, and, say something. Darren works real hard with the secondary and works with our scout team quite a bit. So all those guys all have some conversation with them over the course of the weekend when they're here. And then say, hey, have you checked this? Make sure you do this, get this done, and they usually have it straightened out. And just a great opportunity for those guys to get into those films. And not only, you can only watch film so long of the other team. You got to make sure you're watching your own film and you're taking care of yourself. Yep. You can sit there and say, they're going to run jet sweep right now. Well, yeah, but can your defensive end get off that base block? Or are they going to inside release and make him, raise their back? How are they going to do this? So you got to take care of your own, too, at the same time. And I think they do an excellent job of that.
Well, we certainly know that our coaches have been a big part of your staff for a long time, you guys, which makes it, which makes us unique, because we know each other, how each other's thinking before we're even saying anything.
Yeah, I think we do. Big Smitty will come walking in, into my office, and I already know what he's going to ask me, and I usually yell it out before he gets there. And he's another one, does a great job. He works with, when we are on offense, he simulates other teams' defense. Yep. And when the offense is on the field, everybody wants to be with the offense and coach the offense. And he's got that task of doing that over there. And then that's what I said, Darren and Coach Ole do the same thing when we switch sides. And it's just a unique situation that I don't know that everybody could, would.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah, I think that the fact is, and those guys like it, because I don't think anybody likes to just sit in meetings for no apparent reason, and it doesn't include you most of the time anyway. You're talking to somebody else.
Well, Coach, coming back full circle, Piqua just now been releasing the all conference honors and all Southwest District honors, and just too many kids to name, but we had a great deal of kids recognized, because of the success the team had, but again, I think it reflects to the coaching, and I think that reflects to the program's tradition. It's nice to see our kids get some recognition. It is,
and again, that's another thing. You get those things out there. One of them is a vote from the coaches, and then the second one is a vote for sports writers, and then there's always that question. Well, how did you get this and not get this? But our kids don't play into that whole much. I mean, they go, hey, yeah, I won. Okay, fine. And move on. And I think, like I said, their big rewards are the fact that we're playing weeks 13 and 14. They're playing on a winning program, and that stuff. Because you can't, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, you can get a little plaque that says you are all Ohio. All right, and you can share that with you and maybe your dog, because those are the only two people that have looked at it. But if you have a picture that you were the league champs, you were the state champs, you were the regional champs, and you got that plaque or that picture, then you can share it with a bunch of people. You can sit back and have a lot of good memories about being on a great team. But individual awards, it's not many people you can celebrate them with.
Well, we at Piqua have not put any of those individual honors. I know I have a lot of athletic directors, even kids from other schools, mentioned that they put their stuff out. Well, they put their stuff out because their season was over with, and we weren't going to do it because we were still in the team thing, and not one player here ever asked, hey, when am I going to get that thing? All they were worried about was taking care of the week at hand. And that's just nice. Now, again, bittersweet, but it's nice now that we can reflect and look back and say that our kids deserve those.
They did, and they'll be honored in our team room down there. They get up on the board on the team room down there, and that's something that every player, from now on will be looking at, and that's, I think, one of the big accomplishments.
Well, Coach, moving forward and looking at the people that we have coming back, two of our featured players this week, Kion Warner and Devin Finley, both who are sophomores, who are really the only two sophomores that Mickey Anderson a little bit, but we didn't have a lot of sophomores engaged because I had a lot of seniors and juniors, as we've talked about. Those two played very important roles in the Indians this year.
Yeah, they did. And I think if you throw in maybe Andrew Miller, he was our scout team running back. So he was the other team's running back every week. What a job. That's not fun
that's
to
not
be.
fun.
Not fun at all.
Particularly with that defensive line.
No. And Andrew just came working back. Plus he was on some special teams also. And then Landon Martin also played a little bit on some special teams. So I think we had 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we had 5 sophomores. Did we get them all?
Yes.
We had 5 sophomores letter, but I think the 2 guys that we're talking about tonight were actual starters. And Kyan did a great job when he was called on to come in and play receiver for us. He played some running back for us, and he also played safety for us. So he was that plug-in guy wherever we needed him. And then, the Finn rolled in, backing up a guy that started for 3 years, and then unfortunately lost him, and then we moved another senior in there, and Finn just kept working, didn't complain, didn't say anything. Next thing you know, Ozzie has a knee injury the first game of the season, and instead of Finn being over in the corner pouting for the last 3 weeks because he's not starting, he was ready to roll, jumped in, and
His first game is Troy.
Yeah,
I mean, you're walking into probably what is deemed as one of the greatest rivalries in the state of Ohio.
And has done, did a great job. And I think both of those guys are products. They love the weight room. I have the pleasure of having them both in my class, in my U.S. history class. They're great students, and we're just proud of their efforts. And it was great to have 2 sophomores to be able to get in there.
Well, Coach, I know those 2 guys are going to probably use this, not probably, they will use this experience to propel them to work harder in the offseason and get those guys behind him following their leadership.
Oh, so, definitely will.
Coach, thank you for taking your time with us every week on this show. I know it's, when you're a coach, you got a lot of things going, but we also thank you for a great season. We thank you for the time you put into it, and congratulations for making it special for people here in Piqua.
Thank you.
We will be back for part 2. We're going to meet the Finn Man, and we're also going to talk to Kyan. We're going to talk a little bit about what it was like to be a part of this year's special season when we come back. This show brought to you by Edison State Community College and Employ Bridge. Welcome to part 2 of the Bill Nieces Coaches Show, brought to you by Edison State Community College and Employ Bridge. And we are at the players portion of our program. We'll let them introduce their name, their grade, and the position they play.
I am Kyan Warner. I play running back and safety. I'm a sophomore.
My name is Devin Finley. I'm a sophomore. I play middle linebacker.
Guys, it's been a fantastic year for a lot of reasons. You guys were a big part of that as sophomores, one of the few sophomores that actually played and played regularly on a team that was heavily senior and junior related. What was that experience like for you guys to come in and play with that? We'll start with you on that.
It was very different. Just they got a lot of stuff to put on my back. Not trying to mess up and stuff. Trying to be good enough for the team's validation,
Yeah, well, I think you certainly did that. I mean, when on both sides of the ball, offensively, you came with some points, and you gave us some points when we needed some points this year. So you certainly validated that. Talk a little bit about you defensively. You came in when Mason Osborne got hurt, and you came in and you stuck it right away. What was that pressure like on your standpoint, knowing you were coming in? And your first game happened to be, ironically, against Troy.
Yeah, it was a big game. It was a lot of pressure not to mess up, but as the season went on and I got more comfortable with the team and everything, it just fell right in place, got more comfortable with it, made more plays, and yeah.
For both of you guys, what was it like to be on a team that not only, had some success, but made the run it did? You win part of an NBL championship and an undefeated regular season. Before we get into the playoffs, what was that like for you guys?
It was very cool because, when we came up playing football, our team wasn't very good, so we didn't have that winning experience, but that's what they did. They gave us that winning experience.
Yeah.
Like he said, we was used to losing a lot growing up, but, as we got older and we got more experience, especially on this team right here, we we love the winning. You know, we love winning.
Well, and I think that helps you as you're moving forward. Now you got a taste of it, what it's like. And obviously you guys are going to be leaders for the guys that are coming through and coming up. I think there's some things from these seniors. What did you take from the senior group that led the team this year? What were some characteristics that you guys think that you guys can take and implement in your leadership style?
Nobody is above the team. You know, we're all the same. You got to work hard all the time to get better and make the team win, you know?
Devin, how about your end? What did you get from the senior group?
Discipline between each other, making others accountable on their actions. Mostly, yeah, that's what I'm going to take into next year.
Yeah, it was, I would imagine, coming through with a group that gets some strong personalities in there. But I also think some personalities that, when you say hold accountable, it wasn't necessarily people screaming and yelling at one another. There was a brotherhood and a true bond of helping each other. When one guy was struggling, the other guy would help the other guy up, and the next game it might be the other way around.
Yeah.
So I would imagine from you guys probably saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit about highlights for you. What were you, if you were to tell me, what was the highlight of the year for you, Devin? I'm going to start with you on that one.
My first game, Troy. Troy, after the game, dancing in the locker room. That was getting to hold the trophy. That was amazing for me.
The highlight of my season was probably the first playoff win, because after the game we was just dancing in the locker room, having so much fun, and that was my first playoff win since like 6th grade, so it was kind of cool.
You talk about after locker room experiences.
Yes.
And the public doesn't get to see that a lot. I have been fortunate enough where, let's just use the word fortunate, to be in there when that happens. And you guys truly enjoy the moment. And I think that's the other thing from this team that I got is they did not get ahead of themselves, whether it was week by week. But when it was time to work, they worked. But it was time to celebrate. In the locker room, they were dancing and singing, and it was fun to be a part of. And I think it's okay. I think you heard that too as sophomores. Is, hey, you work hard, you get to celebrate your hard work.
Yeah.
Moving forward, off season, you guys have got now a part of the off season. We talk a little bit about what you got to do as leaders and put into your philosophy. But now talk a little bit about what you now kind of see looking forward to moving forward to next year and what you see your role on the field might be.
Yeah, I just feel like I got to step up and be a bigger part of the defense and offense combined as a whole. And I'm going to just try to do that by getting big in the weight room, staying in the weight room, getting strong.
Okay. Devin?
Defense, I got to mostly focus on me, myself, getting faster and stronger. But when it comes to the field, I got to, underclassmen are going to look to me for leadership, and I got to show them the ways. Yeah.
Well, I think you guys learned from seniors is how you can lead. It doesn't have to be a dictatorship. And I think you also learned about hard work, but you also learned about having fun. And you guys certainly have a great future ahead of you. And I know next year we look forward to another good year. And we certainly wish you guys all the best as you guys get ready for your off season. But again, congratulations on a fantastic year.
Thank you.
This is going to wrap up the Bill Neese's Coaches Show for the 2021 season. It's been an outstanding run and one that we hope you, as a Pickwick community, had the opportunity to enjoy. We encourage you to continue to go. If you want to relive those memories, you can watch all the Coaches Shows on the Indian Nation station on the YouTube channel. It'll also be played on Spectrum. The games, we also encourage you to you can watch those games on demand at your leisure on the Indian Nation YouTube channel. It'll be a season that we will soon not forget, a team that was memorable for this year and for many ages to come. And we thank the team, the coaches, we thank you, the community, for joining in with us, the cheerleaders and the band and all those that made this season just a little extra special. So for the last time of the 2021 season, thank you. And remember those three important words: we are Pickwick.